Gemini. Hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late October 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business and start off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our stinger into the energy, see what's happening for the lovely Geminis. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic. Let's get it going, my guides. Talk to me. What do we got for Gemini here in late October? As you can see, we are in the season spirit, my friends. I wonder what your costume is. Yeah, let's get it going. What energies, messages, insights can we pull for our good friends? Yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card by pulling one from the Shadowland Tarot, which is always beautiful, and there's a lot of insight with that. Always interesting. So let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for the Geminis in late October. What's happening, my guys? Let's get this going here. And yeah, I'm a big old bumblebee with antennas. Love this costume. It's a classic. Okay, so this energy has a lot of forward movement, a lot of forward momentum. I like it. It really reminds me of the Chariot. So this could be good for change or moving forward, making moves. There's a lot of powerful energy tied to it. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the October subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more about this card. So when we look at the symbolism here, we see this lovely lady. There's a sailboat or a ship. There's birds. They're all moving in a very particular direction. And to me, it's like onwards and upwards. Now, for some Geminis out there, you might be thinking ahead to something like, all right, well, what's going to happen? How's this going to go down? This could be a very strategic type of energy as well. But like I said, it reminds me of the Chariot. So maybe some of you, it is distance in a situation or traveling. But to me, it's like, all right, something's bubbling. Something's about to pop off here. Not necessarily in a bad way. It just feels like an intense energy building underneath the surface. So when we see this card, it could tie into all that. And I mean, of course, it can be a little aggressive. That's the only little warning I have with this card, is like you might have some extra energy within you that you might need to burn off because it's building up so intensely. Let's see what shows up in tarot, though, because that could be really good for making a change. So we'll just leave it over there. They could keep going along their journey. Let's get into tarot now. And yeah, I always say the first card there, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the beautiful Geminis. What is happening, please? And yeah, while we get this all shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was titled The Serious Situation. Now, something I will say, my good friends, is that over the past few weeks, there's been some choppy waters for the Gemini energy, so hopefully you haven't been going through too much. Now, with last week's reading, it either felt like a situation that is serious or one that you might need to take a little more seriously. Okay, not letting something slide. So let's see what energy shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards here for the beautiful Geminis. What's happening in late October? What's going on? The deck is being very specific. Usually with Gemini readings, the cards pop out real quick. Okay, we have Lady Justice here. That's a fellow air sign type of energy. It's strong, though. It's karmic. Okay, could really tie into a lot of things, you know, unless you're connected to a Libra, of course. But let's get a couple more out here. What do we have for Gemini? What is happening? Thank you. The Moon. Okay, so big card of mystery. Both double major arcana showing up here, which is intense. Makes sense with that very first card that we were seeing if we have this much energetic intensity. But let's get one more and we'll really start piecing it together. What do we got? Thank you. Okay. The Star. So all major arcana. So these are really big themes and archetypes here with the Star on the back end. I do feel elementally this is a vibe you could work with. So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, and you know me, I always look at the elements first in every reading. On the split ends here, this is air energy, and Gemini is an air sign. So I feel like this is very much compatible. Now, I will say this, the center is water. So we have air and water. These are internal energies. So in this time, just like we saw with that very first card, there could be an intensity building up within you. So if you channel it in the right way, that could be very good. But when it comes to major arcana, these are big, powerful themes that could be taking place or coming up. okay, and could tie into change. But let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out. So position number one, we are starting with Lady Justice. And with all these cards, there's a complexity to it because it's not just one meaning. Now, Lady Justice does tie to Libra energy. So if you're connected to Libra, if you have Libra placements, could be highlighting that with this card. Lady Justice is fair. She's balanced. She could represent decisions, choices that we're making, balancing something out. It could speak about equality or fairness when we see Lady Justice too. So hopefully you're not in a situation where you feel like it's off kilter. Hopefully something is balancing out for you whenever she shows up. She is an extremely powerful karmic archetype. So when I see her, she's the most powerful karmic card. You might be going through certain karmic cycles. Someone might be catching a dose of karma, not saying that's you, but she does really bring that to the forefront whenever she's in the mix. I also say when Lady Justice shows up, watch out for anything you're putting your signature on, because she does deal with legalities, legal situations, contracts, like you name it. If it's something where you got to put your name on a dotted line, Lady Justice rules over it. Okay. And when we talk about the challenge, because I always like to give you both sides of the coin, the challenge of Lady Justice is the opposite of what I just described. It could represent something that is not balanced, something that is not quite fair. So we'll see. But moving to the center, we have the moon card, the most mysterious card in the whole entire deck. So when we see the moon, it is linked to Pisces energy. I also like to link it to the Cancerian collective. And this is more subtle. Even though it's a major arcana, it's a subtle energy. It's dreamy, it's psychic, it's intuitive. So if you're sensitive to energies, that could be heightened. Your intuition, your gut could be telling you something whenever the moon is in the mix. It could also just represent mystery, right? That's a positive and a challenge when it comes to the moon, is that it is the biggest mystery card. So unexpected things could be popping up, surprising things, you name it. In its roughest sense, it can represent secrecy or the unknown. So maybe you got something you're dealing with that you're not really letting the outside world see for whatever reason. But again, this can be a good card too. That's what I always like to say. It's just subtle. It's something working in the background. Okay, so when I see it, it could add another layer of complexity to whatever it is you might be dealing with in this time. Now, moving to the back end, we're ending off with one of my favorite cards. We have the Star, big Aquarius energy. We see the water bearer there. This is one of the cards of wish fulfillment. So I think of wins, victories, something that you're really wanting coming through for you. The Star is long-term energy. I don't think of this as just what's coming up within the next week. Even though this is a weekly reading, this is more like long-term goals, light at the end of the tunnel, a payoff. So if there's something you've been dealing with for a very long time, if there's something you've been focusing your energy towards for a really long time, you could be getting the result that you want when this card shows up, and it's really good. It's a card of hope. And remember I said in the very beginning with this card, we have like this future focus. This card's all about that. Okay, so when we see all this stuff going on, we're definitely going to want to get into the deeper aspects. But a challenge with this card, since it does tie into hope, some of you, there might be certain situations where you're like, okay, well, it is what it is. Worst case scenario could be someone that's feeling a little down, depressed, or hopeless. But we're not going to fully go that route, because to me, with all this major arcana, there can be a very positive outcome coming in for you. But I want to dive deeper on all of it, Gemini. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. Let's see what's happening. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on Lady Justice. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Gemini, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, let's get Lady Justice going. What's happening here for Gemini? Why is Lady Justice in the mix? Thank you. Okay, yeah, there could be something going on where it's not really in your hands, and that's okay. Life does usually sell us, or not sell us, life usually serves us with certain situations where it's like, all right, there's not much I could really do about it. So just know, like, this could be someone, I don't want to say they're a victim of circumstance, but I just feel like there might be something going on where it's like, you've done what you could do, or there's not much else you could really do to move it along. The Queen of Wands in reverse. Now, for a portion of you, watch out for issues specifically with fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. In the upright, she's a card of confidence, beauty, action. In reverse, it's someone that's not feeling too confident about something. So I feel like for any of you, if there are situations or issues popping up, there's only so much you could do about it. That's just how it feels to me. Now, I will also say this. Lady Justice with the Queen of Wands in reverse can absolutely represent somebody catching a dose of karma, right? Because it's what I'm picking up here is like the universe is taking the wheel. Okay, so again, whatever it is you might be dealing with, lots of Geminis out there dealing with a lot of different things. Either there's something that a situation that might just be out of your hands a little bit and you just got to let it go through the paces, or somebody's going to be catching that karmic dose, right? They might be catching, the universe might bring something into balance. The universe might make something right. Because with the Queen of Wands in reverse, it's like, all right, not much they could do about it. The universe is going to balance this out. So let's keep moving. I don't feel like we need to get too overly complex with that. So let's see what the moon has to say. We're just going to keep it moving right along here. Why is the moon in the mix? Why is the moon here for the Geminis? Thank you. Okay. So when I see the Hermit in reverse, I don't necessarily feel like this is something returning or popping back up. I mean, for some of you, that could be the case. Notice we have very, very strong archetypes. This is either a situation coming up out of nowhere, so it ties into what we see in the front, or it could, for a small portion of you, represent something like returning or resurfacing or flaring back up. Like I'm getting here we go again type of energy. So do with that information what you will, but let's talk about it. The Hermit is Virgo energy. So you might be connected to one. If that's not the case, what do we think about the Hermit? It's very mysterious. It's retracted. It's pulled back. It's not giving energy to something when it's in the upright, and it's extremely mysterious. So in the reverse, underneath the moon, it's something popping back up. So once again, for some of you, whether it's a surprising situation or an unexpected one, and for a small portion of you, it could be something returning or flaring back up. Now, it's really up to you in your situation whether this is something you're okay with dealing with. Okay, like if it is a person that you wouldn't mind dealing with, I mean, that could be a good thing for you. But for a portion of you, I'm kind of getting this like, all right, here we go again. It's like giving me that vibe here. So do with that information what you will. I don't feel like it's very complex here. Yeah, there could just be something going on where it's like, all right, let's go for the ride. Just got to go along for the ride for whatever reason. But let's see what the star has to say, because that could be our big result in the end. Then we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So let's see what's happening with the star. Why is the star here for my Geminis, please? What's going on? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, a process of some kind. And I was picking that up in the beginning. Notice, I just want to point out, I only do a 6-card spread, very simple, straightforward. 5 of the 6 cards are major arcana. Very, very powerful stuff. The Magician can also be karmic as well. So it's interesting when we're seeing things flaring back up and both double karmic cards showing up here. It's like for a portion of you, there could be a situation that needs to be revisited when I'm seeing all these types of alignments. However, the Magician is a card of manifesting. It's a card of control, ritual, sometimes even day-to-day life. It's very spiritual in the upright, and it represents control, right? Controlling your path, controlling your destiny. When it shows up in reverse underneath the star, for some of you, you might need to plan long-term with something like, all right, well, after this, how's it going to work out? Like, again, eyes to the future with this Magician in reverse. Life is always going to throw us curveballs as well. And when the Magician is in reverse under the star, there's like, all right, might just need to let this ride out. There could be a process that you need to go through. You need to see it through for whatever reason. That's the main vibe I'm picking up. Like there's an odd mix of universal energy, hidden energy, and just letting things process. Because again, for some Geminis, and I know Gemini is a sign that can very much go with the flow, very adaptable. You're a mutable sign. So when I see these energies, I feel like, again, you could work with it. It might not be the most pleasant energy, but it's like, okay, I could work with this. I could just go with the flow, because some of you, it might just be a process that you need to go through. But I will say this for all of you. When I see the star with the Magician in reverse, it's like the universe is going to take care of this. in a way, or it's like everything will be okay. There's going to be a result in the end. It's more about just going through the process, going through the steps. So let's go through and do a quick recap here, Gemini. Lots of interesting things popping up, lots of powerful energies. So again, I'm not picking up huge warnings or anything like that, but if you kindly look in the box, position number 1, we're starting off here with Lady Justice and the Queen of Wands in reverse. So again, watch out if you're having any issues with a fire sign there. I'd felt a couple things here. That's the first appearance of possibly having a situation where there's not much you could really do about it, especially with what we have coming up next to it. And yeah, life always throws that at us. Like, we do what we can, but there's a point sometimes where it's like, okay, it's not in my hands for now, at least for now. Another vibe I was getting here is the universe might make something right. It's karma coming in for somebody here. Hopefully it's the good kind for you. Moving to the center, we have the moon, mysterious, hermit in reverse, mystery coming forth. So again, curveballs, right? Whether it's the universe throwing you a surprising situation or an unexpected one, but that could also represent a flare-up or a return of some kind. So just know there could be something that returns out of nowhere. Moving to the back end, we have the star card with the magician in reverse. It's about going through the process and just letting something run its course. That's just the vibe I'm picking up here as well. I do see a good result here in the end, but to me, the main vibe I was picking up is like, all right, let's see how it goes. So again, good ending, but I also feel this energy where it's something just needs to process itself. So please take a screenshot if you'd like to look into that further. Let's see what's in the shadows for you, my friends. So let's get a good shuffle here for the Geminis. What is in the shadows? And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. Oh, and yes, if you made it to this point in reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. They're the ones that picked my costumes this year. Let's get it going here. What's up for Gemini in the shadows? Thank you. Ace of Cups. All right, that's good. I feel like as far as shadow cards go, this is really nice. Now, the Ace of Cups in its shadow side can represent somebody working through some emotions that aren't the nicest. This can represent a certain heaviness. And I was saying that in the very beginning, there's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of internal energy. This makes sense when we see this in the shadows. Now, the Ace of Cups can represent communication. It can represent love. But in a broad context, I feel like it is somebody's emotional state. So for a portion of you, this is a conversation you weren't expecting to have, or there might just be something you need to really get off your chest in order to process it, needing to speak to somebody in order to process these types of emotions. But yeah, the Ace of Cups also does tie into like love and romance. So there could be an emotional offer coming in for some of you. But I like how that feels. I feel like that's an okay one. Just watch the intensity of feeling here. So Gemini, that's what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the October subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar for the month of October at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the October subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Tarot of the Owls. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. Second, let me know down in the comments, hypothetically, if you had to get a tattoo of a tarot card, which one would you choose and why? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love. I'll see you again soon.